And then, Ryan Clark, if they get right into the meat and potatoes of where are they at? Where are they at? Where is he at with the Niners? Ryan Clark basically said, where are you at? And Aiyuk said, hey, look, they called me and they said, we're not on the same page. And it didn't look like we were going to end up being on the same page. So it sounds like to me, Parag started playing serious hardball, on the phone, because that's serious hardball. Hey, Brandon, by the way, we're not on the same page financially. And I don't know that we can picture being on the same page financially because, we're not budging, in other words, and we don't think you're going to budge. So it almost is like, and I wonder about this, Coach, because I'm wondering if this is a tactic by Parag to, go to the mattresses and really fight and claw for every nickel, which is possible. Or it's also possible that after minicamp and watching Pearsall and Cowing, that the Niners have made the evaluation that they can get by this year without Aiyuk, and they're not caving. So, and maybe they're just telling him up front, hey, you know what? Maybe it is time for us to discuss. I mean, we assume, because the Niners said, we love the player, we want the player, blah, blah, blah. But they're also about to pay Purdy King's ransom. And there is no player that's going to go from, there's no player in football outside of Brock Purdy that in the next year is going from $900,000 to $60+ million. But Brock Purdy is. And that means that impacts the Niners cap. So they're the most. And so they're probably pretty hard up against the cap. I just kind of wonder, like, what's the truth? That's what I wonder. Is the truth that the Niners have Cowing and have Pearsall, have already drafted Aiyuk off the roster, and have seen those guys look good in the minicamp and have made the evaluation, we are going to play super hard ball and we're not giving in an inch on Brandon Aiyuk. If we're offered, let's just say our offer is $26 million for the sake of the conversation. Our offers at $26 million and we ain't budging. We're not going to 28. We're not going to 29. We're not going to 30. We're not going north of 30. We're not getting anywhere close to Justin Jefferson. And since we know that, and we just told you that, hey, you know what? We're not on the same page financially right now, and we don't envision getting on the same page. It's almost as if they said to him, this is the end. Do you want to trade? Now, they stopped short of that, which makes you think that it might just be a ploy or a negotiating tactic. But they haven't traded him. He hasn't demanded a trade. But he told Ryan Clark that they said to him, we're not on the same page, and it doesn't look like we're going to end up on the same page. And Aiyuk said, hey, man, it's just part of the negotiation. He said then he went on and said, hey, there were times when we were super close to getting a deal done, and then other times we were really far apart. And then the market changed, and Jefferson signed, and the price went up. And he's like, we haven't agreed, and over the past month, we haven't talked. It's been quiet. There's been no movement, no contract talks, no connection in the last month. So, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like we're at an impasse, but at the same time, Coach, and I know training camp doesn't begin for a month, and this could very much just be hardball posturing and verbal, lobbying, verbal jabs at each other. But that's really the question: with Parag telling Aiyuk's people we're not on the same page, and it doesn't look like we're going to get on the same page. Is that them trying to start the ball rolling towards trade talks, or is that super hardball? And we want Aiyuk, but we want him at our price, and we're going to battle every way possible, every way imaginable to get our price. So what's your read there? Because that's a dramatic thing. When I heard Parag said we're not on the same page and we're not likely to get on the same page, that's almost like saying, hey, dude, what's the next move? Because we're not budging, and I'll assume you're not budging. So we're at an impasse. So it sounds like they're on the verge of a trade. But the timeline on this podcast in relation to the last meeting with the Niners, they've since met, and supposedly the meeting went well. and supposedly he's not going to be traded. So, and this podcast, I guess, happened before that meeting. So all the talk about, there's one more meeting. They had their one more meeting. It supposedly went well, and supposedly they're going to get a deal done, and he's not going to be traded. But I thought that was a hardball tactic by Parag, just saying, hey, you know what? We don't have a deal, and we're not going to have a deal. What was your read on that?
I tend to think that they're going to get a deal done, like I said before. And really, the delta, I don't think the delta is the number. I think that BA at 26 to 28, I don't think that that's the problem. I think the guarantee money is the problem in the years. And I think BA wants guaranteed money, right? To the tune of maybe like 40 to 50 million, maybe 50 plus. That would put him, as far as guaranteed money, in like the top 3 receivers in the league. Definitely ahead of Waddle, Debo. I think Debo got a guaranteed 30 plus. He'd be right below AJ Brown, but nowhere close to Justin Jefferson. I think the biggest thing for BA is the guaranteed money versus the years. So if you think about it, with receivers, more oftentimes than not, they're going to get maybe a 3-year deal. Debo got a 3-year deal. But for the money that Brandon wants, he's going to kill our cap, right? For us to be able to give him that guaranteed money with it being such a short turnaround, there's no way for us to backload that deal. So I think the biggest thing between Parag and BA is the years and the guaranteed money. I don't think it's salary anymore. I think BA understands that getting paid 30 on this team, where the only 2 players on this team that are getting paid 30 plus are Nick Bosa and Trent Williams. And really the 3 biggest cap hits for our team this year, are Trent Williams at 31.5, Debo Samuel at 28.6, and Mooney at 18.4. So I think that the deal may be a 4-year deal. I don't think 5 is a little too much for a receiver, but it may be like a 4-year deal with maybe 50 to 60 guaranteed. And I think the guaranteed money is what BA and Parag are trying to get together. But I think the caveat for BA is that he's got to give more years, right? It's like, you want this guaranteed money, man, you got to give us more years. You got to give us maybe 4 years. And that's going to be able to backload what BA has going on. That way, we're good now. We're still in our window, but the next year's coming up. Now we got to make some hard decisions, because we got to pay Brock. We got to see what we're going to do with Debo. We got to see what we're going to do with Trent. His deal's coming. So we're going to be able, we can do it. This is not a numbers thing, right? This isn't about like BA literally not being able to fit on the cap with his deal. It can get done. But I do believe that the biggest deal right now is the Niners have made deals already where they're already looking at dead money situations. They're already backloading contracts. And what they were hoping is that they can get more of a cleaner, straightforward deal with BA, meaning like straight numbers, straight years, straight salary. But BA is putting a little bit more into the mix with the amount of years that he wants. And then honestly, if you're Parag and the Niners, this situation can be a little frustrating from a standpoint of BA could have a full number in his mind, but the Niners could be telling BA like, hey, we can't give you that number in that fashion, right? Like, I know that you want your 30, but we can't replicate your worth in terms of annual salary. That kills us, right? Not only does that kill us, but that comes straight out of Jed's pocket, right? And then there's a differentiation between the actual cap, which is a rubric of how the delineated money for the players is spent each year to fit inside of that. And then there's also what you're actually worth inside of my goddamn pocket, like what I really want to pay you, right? So I feel like there's a lot of boiling pots in this situation, but at this stage, I feel like they're going to get it done because BA has quite frankly used all of his cards. Like, he's done a really thorough job. If I'm being nice, he's done a really thorough job in his social media footprint, getting out there, being able to tell his side of this. But at the end of the day, I think that the Niners are going to be able to get a deal done. They're going to backload it, and if BA this is the oldest story of all time in the NFL. He's going to kick and scream, and then the Niners are going to be able to place him on the cap. All right. There ain't never been in the history of football a team that can't play a game because they capping together. Everybody, for some reason, magically gets it done. So he's going to be on the cap. They're going to backload that contract. And as soon as he is not producing the way they expect him to, year 3, year 4, he's going to get a tap on his shoulder, just like Eric Armstead. And they're going to ask him, hey, we need to have a conversation about your contract. Either you renegotiate or we're going to move you. And not only are we going to move you, but we're going to move you right now where your cachet isn't as good as it wants to. And you can get on social media all you want this time. We already paid the money. So that's how this is going to go. They're going to pay him his money. It's going to be 4 years. He's going to get guaranteed money, but the annual salaries is going to be backloaded. So he's going to give us a break for 2 years.
I think it'll be a backloaded deal. I think it's going to be right around a little bit over 28 million a year. So I'm going to say 4 years, 115 million, something like that.
That's
4 years at 28 million flat would be 112 million. So I'm saying 115 million, 70 to 80 guaranteed. Of that 70 to 80 guaranteed, 35 to 50 in that range will be fully guaranteed. I'm not sure exactly how that number shakes out. I think
you go like maybe 50 plus, because 50 plus will put him in top 3 territory. It will be
fully guaranteed.
Yeah, it would be Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, and then it would be BA. He'd get more fully guaranteed money than Debo. And say what you want, that matters to him.